Hello everyone! Today, let's look at the political features of the two mythological systems compared. For we have observed some interesting discrepancies between them, which lead to their very distinctive mythological practices. In the Chinese mythology, there has been a definite hierarchical system which ensures the ruling and the ruled relationship between the deities and the mortals. In the prehistoric mythology, the world is given life by the hand of the deities, such as Nuwa and Fuxi, who are worshipped as the ultimate and supreme ancestors of all humankind, and are often represented as half snake, half humans. Shen-Nong, the peasant god, who was identified as Yan-Di, were said to have taught the techniques of farming, herbal medicine, and marketing. These three influential mythological figures were called the Three Emperors. Together with the other 5 premier emperors, they are standing on the top of the celestial hierarchical system in the Chinese mythology and enjoy the unconditional worship of the mortals. In Taoist mythology, there is much overlap between the Taoist deities and the Chinese ancient mythology. Taoism have shared with the Chinese mythology an important figure, Jade Emperor, known as Yu Huang Dadi, who is the absolute ruler of the heavenly realm, determines the orders of the 12-year calendar cycle, and generally runs various affairs on earth and the underworld from his abode in heaven. Chinese never have doubts concerning Jade Emperor's rule over the heavenly realm and the earthly world. And there never have been any tales questioning his power. And don't forget that these ancient mythological tales are hugely fused with the moral teachings of Confucianism, which stresses the concept of Li. Li is about a set of ideal social relationships which help to maintain a stable and harmonious society by following some social and family hierarchical rules. Under the concept of Li, a mythological realm is built upon a state with the dominating person, namely the gods and deities, receiving absolute respect and obedience from the subordinate people. And what's worth noticing is that the dominating gods or deities are never the dictators, but reciprocate to the subordinate mortals with love, goodwill, and sometimes timely sacrifices. Confucian notions of hierarchy are evident in the bureaucratic pantheon of Chinese myths. For example, Tian is a complicated concept in Chinese philosophy, which has mixed meaning of the material and physical sky, the celestial sphere that was separate from the Di, and hence the world come into existence. The mythical meaning of Tian is about being the highest deity, a celestial spirit. And finally, Confucius added a moral and ethical meaning to it by saying that Tian is one having a moral principle, and which is the highest primordial principle of the universe. And he honored Tian as a supreme source of goodness. So, let's turn to the politics in Greek mythology. There has been more democracy among the Greek gods than hierarchy. And there is not that huge distance between the heavenly gods and the mortals. The Western mythology, meaning Greek mythology, dates back to the tribal folklores. As the city-states interacted with each other, there has been a fusion among tribal folklores. The Greek mythology followed the concept of polytheism, which is the worship of multiple deities. The faint hierarchy in Greek myths reflects the comparative democracy and equality shared among the city-states. Although there does exist an explicit ranking system among them, it is more appropriate to call it a family tree, for most of the deities and gods are related to one another in one way or the other, and together they maintain the relationship on a relatively equal basis, as it does within a family or among city-state nobles. For instance, Uranus, the deity of the sky, Kronos, the god of time, and Zeus, the supreme god in Greek mythology, are more like fathers than solemn lords to the other gods. Together, they reign the world with their brothers and sisters. Indeed, the system of democracy enjoyed by the gods and deities in Greek mythology is an invention of the ancient Greeks and inspired the democracy practiced today. The emergent democracy in Greek mythology was reflected in the politics of ancient Greek and Roman mythology, and taking a further step, has left a tremendous impact and inspiration on Western politics. In a nutshell, unlike the absolute reference from the earthly models to the heavenly deities in Chinese mythology, there's no natural obedience to the heavenly absolute rule, and no belief that no violation of the divinity, which, to the contrary, is deep-rooted in Chinese mythology and feudal Chinese society. Now it is time to review what we have talked about in today's class. Question 1. What is the relationship between the gods and deities in Chinese mythology? There is a ruling and ruled hierarchy in Chinese mythology. We see that in the folklore, Taoist mythology, and it has been reinforced by the moral teaching of Li from Confucianism, seeking to maintain the social order. Furthermore, Chinese never have doubts concerning the heavenly ruler's power over the heavenly realm and earthly world. Question 2. What about the hierarchy in Greek mythology? It is more appropriate to call the relationship between the deities in Greek mythology a family tree than a hierarchy, because the gods are related to each other in many ways, and there are more equality and democracy enjoyed among them than ruler and the ruled relationship compared to Chinese mythology. The emergent democracy in Greek mythology was reflected in the politics of ancient Greek and Roman mythology, and has left a tremendous impact and inspiration on the Western politics.